First podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Savage, and I'm joined by my assistant host slash coach, Big Les. What's going on, Big Les?
Good, mate. Good. We've gone a little bit matchy with the shirts today. What's going on there?
Yeah, I don't know. You weren't wearing that at training today.
Yeah, I know. I thought I'd throw it on. Obviously, with the charity match only a week away, I thought that I'd chuck this on, show the people who the winning team's going to be come Sunday.
I'm bloody keen. I feel like it's taken a long time to get to this point, but it's also come around quickly at the same time.
Yeah, I get what you mean. It's like Christmas and Easter. You feel like it's been a long time between the two, but also it just goes so quick as well.
I'm so keen. How have you envisioned how you're going to play next week? That you envision good things you're going to do. What is your ideal perfect game?
It's a great question. A little bit of a wish heart roll. Just come on and make an impact. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Most likely we'll be playing in the forwards. If there's any injuries, I can just pop in anywhere. So keen, really excited. I mean, at a pinch. I mean, you've seen me train, so you can be the real barometer of that. But
I mean, you're very physical. You're very physical. You were very good with your hit ups and your tackles. But Jesus Christ, your catching needed work today.
Yeah,
it was very slippery. It was very slippery today.
I'm not a winger. I'll never be a winger. So that's all right.
No, it's all right. If you don't know what we're talking about, Sportshed TV charity match next week, next Sunday, I think 3 p.m. They're doing an announcement tonight, and there'll be a live stream available. So please tune in some way, somehow. It's going to be a good day out. All your favorite content creators, all content creators that you see in the NRL space will be there, and you'll get to see them get pumped or just be absolutely gassed, see them in the most uncomfortable state they're in instead of in their bloody bedrooms talking shit. So head over to the link in the bio and do that. Today we're pretty much finishing off the previews today because it's been the Tuesdays slots that we had earlier. Les just decided to better himself and go to TAFE for his future. So
yeah, no, I'm such an asshole.
Such an asshole. So we haven't been able to record the On the Burst podcast on Tuesday. So we've been trying to put together times and it kind of hasn't lined up. So we're going to just go through them all very quickly today. And I feel like we don't need to go into depth on a lot of these, like what we have been. We can obviously just talk about the big talking points and et cetera, et cetera. Let's start off with the Wars. So we got the Wars, Storm, Raiders, Dogs, Souths, Manly, Dragons, and Sharks. Let's start with the Wars. I want to go to the Bloke in a Bar season preview. A lot of them were pretty low on them, just not expecting them to be consistent. And I think a lot of people's mindset is that they're probably not going to be consistent. They come onto the scene with Andrew Webster in 2023. 2024 was a bit of a down year. Then 2025, they come out and really surprised, fell off at the end of the year. But I'm kind of the opposite, to be honest, with them. I actually think they're going to come out, and I think they've built a culture, and this is the new Warriors. They've got all these youngsters coming through, Leka Halasima, Ali Leotawa, Jacob Laban, Dimitri Valmunga. They've got heaps of players, and it seems like they've just got a production line going at the moment, and it's not like their style of footy is based on attacking style footy that is outdated eventually. Their style of footy is based on tough defense, and I actually really think they're going to be a problem this year.
I have a feeling they will be as well. I mean, with a pack like Fisher Harris, Barnett, Clark, this side is going to be a problem through the middle of the field. You've also got guys like Leka and Dimitri Valmunga who killed it in the trials in his first stint there. So there's a couple of guys that are going to go to that next level as well, like your Lekas and your Dimitriks, but you've got a great base and a great pack there that is going to do some damage. The watch for me, they have a bit of a mixed draw to start the year. They go Roosters, Raiders, then they go to the Knights and the Tigers, and then Sharks and Storm. So it's pretty up and down for them for their first 6 games. That will be the watch because they are obviously without Luke Metcalf to start the year. So what they decide to do, if they go with Tanner Boyd again, Tamari Martin just picked up an injury in the All-Stars game today, so he probably won't be the guy that slots in that jersey. But what they do without Metcalf and how they go in those first 6-odd games, if they're 2 from 6 and Metcalf comes back, could be a little bit of an issue, but if they really start with some good momentum, then Metcalf can build on the top of that. Then that's obviously going to be a great thing as well. The big watch for me last year, and I think definitely one to watch to start this year, and it'll be a big deciding factor as to how they go, will be Chanel Harris-Tavita for me. I thought that he was outstanding last year when Metcalf was out, so he'll be the big watch for me. But I think that the pack that they've got is definitely good enough to challenge, with those top sides.
Yeah, I think Chanel Harris Tavita, in my opinion, does his job really well, but I think the Chanel Harris Tavita Tanner Boyd combo isn't working, to be honest. I think why Metcalf stood out so much is because you look at that side from 1 to 17, apart from Lecker, he was the attacking spark. Like everybody was a job doer and very good at doing their job. I thought Chanel Harris Tavita did a job exceptionally, but I think as second foil to a Tanner Boyd or trying to be the lead half to a Tanner Boyd, it just doesn't work in that aspect. And I feel like they got stale towards the end of the season because of that reason, because they became way too predictable. And then they were, after becoming too predictable in attack, they were pretty much handing the ball over very quickly, and then just defensively they were getting pounded. So they weren't able to keep up with the pressure towards the end of the year. So I think Luke Metcalf, for that reason, is really important to their side. And I think another burning question for me is Charnze Nicoll-Klokstad at fullback. I think Tane Tuilpiki probably, once he is fit, I think he should play that fullback role to kind of allow a bit of pressure to go off Metcalf.
I disagree. I think that Chance takes pressure off the side just with his defensive plays. Like, he has won them games, or at least kept them in games with his defense, especially late in contests when teams are trying to score points. He saved a bunch of tries. So I think just with his defense and being the safer option with a much more attacking outfit in your Metcalves and these sort of guys you've got around him, I think you can afford to have a guy like Chance at fullback who's a little bit more safe. You're going to get out of Chance, defensively very good. I almost think the one in under pressure in the back line is Dallin Watene-Zelezniak. Just defensively hasn't been very great, and Tane can obviously play that role on the wing as well, so that'll be an option. There's also a bunch of young outside backs at the Warriors searching for opportunities. So I do think that it's more Dallin under pressure than it is Charnze Nicoll-Klokstad, because Chance's defense, again, has been a massive factor in them winning games of football last year and obviously in years previous.
Yeah, 100%. I honestly, the whatever way they go, I think is going to be beneficial for the side. I think another thing, I think Sam Healy's going to be in for a big year, and I think he's going to put a lot of pressure on Wade Egan. Obviously, Wade Egan's a class hooker, and I think he's that glue between the forward pack and the backs. Are we live?
Yeah, we're live on YouTube.
Oh, what? I did not. Oh my god, that was a bad. Oh my god,
you did that. Oh, that's good. That's good. We live.
I didn't know that at all. Oh my god, I'm sorry, guys. Well, if you're here, then hi. Let's have a look. Studio chat. We've got. Where can I find the public chat?
Just go. I'm gonna go onto YouTube now to have a look.
Oh, public chat. Here we go. Warriors fans here. Tuilpiki should be the fullback. I can show that on the stream. Oh my god, I cannot believe I'm live here. Oh my god. And it says, welcome to our live show. Jesus Christ, I've got to change that. Hold on. Let me just change this, and let's move on to the next topic, which is the Storm. The Storm are in for a big year this year. They're obviously a lot of turnover. Eli Katoa out. We've got Nelson Asafa-Solomona out. They've got Tyron Wishart leaving this year. Jonah Pezzett is gone, so they're back up 5'8". Besides Wishart, is gone. They've also got Nas gone. A lot of changeover in this club this year, which is very different compared to years previous.
Yeah, for sure. They've definitely had a lot of turnover, but at the same time, they've brought in pretty much a lot. They've replaced everything they've lost, to be fair, and they've even sort of prepared themselves for the future as well in signings like Trent Toilau and Manaia Wateti from Canberra, guys that can come in and replace Tyron Wishart when he ends up going to the Bears. They've also got some really nice options that are quite versatile when, guys like Munster will potentially be playing Origin this year. A couple of other guys out with injury and whatnot. They've got some really versatile players. So I'm very, very excited for the Melbourne Storm. But in saying that, I'm also very worried for them because, yeah, this is a lot of change, but it's also a lot of change when they've lost 2 back-to-back grand finals. So how does that sort of affect them? I know that Nelson obviously didn't play in the grand final, so we can't really talk about Nas as that big loss, but they've obviously lost Ryan Papenhuyzen, which I think is massive out the back. What he was able to do for them, speed-wise, attacking-wise. Losing a guy like him, I know they have Falongo, but Falongo, while he's been good in the games he's come in, he's unproven. So I think that's obviously going to be the big watch. Apparently, young Manaia Wateti from Canberra, who's come over to the Melbourne Storm, he's putting a bit of pressure there and has trained at fullback as well. So that'll be a big watch to start the year in their first couple of games. But I also think as well with Melbourne, and this might be a big call, but I don't think that they have progressed enough as a footy side. They've lost the last 2 grand finals, but I don't think that they've necessarily done anything to go to another level so they can win a grand final or even be in the grand final going into 2026. I think that they won't be in the grand final this year. I think there's a few sides that I would have ahead of them. So, yeah, Melbourne will be a big watch this year. I'm keen to see how they go. I just don't know if they're a GF side this year.
I don't think they are either. I think they're I actually think they'll struggle to make the top 4, but I think they will get there for some reason. Yes, Queenslander says we are live. Pick one of people asking Supercoach questions while they're in here. That
would be expected.
Well, it's all right. We're doing a Supercoach show. I'll answer it on another podcast. But I've just done all the updating for. I need to update the thumbnail for this one, but I've done all the everything else with this one. So, yeah. In my opinion, I think Sil Falongo has a lot to prove. I think he's still young, and also I didn't like him at fullback. I thought he stunted their attack quite a bit. His timing was off quite a bit, and just I think he has a lot of learning to do. So I think they've got to back him early and just see how good he goes. I think he's a weapon. So there's a bit of transitioning to happen this year. I think it'll be very similar to what the Penrith Panthers did last year, potentially.
Speaking of transition, we could be saying something very different if Lomax walks in the door tomorrow or whenever he comes over to the club.
Where does Lomax play if he is in the side?
Center's the easy answer, but fullback is probably where I could expect to see him. What about yourself?
No, I think he plays center. And like for their side, I see him playing center and Meaney playing fullback. I think that's a better and giving him that kind of just extra year to transition into this fullback role full time.
Yeah, but then again, like Meaney's going next year as well. He's going to Perth, so wouldn't you rather just have Falongo have a year there at fullback to get used to it? Like Meaney's obviously leaving. There's no real point in having him as your fullback if he's going. Like, I'd rather have Falongo there and develop him. To be fair.
Yeah, I don't know what I think with that, to be honest. But with yeah, I don't know. Sorry, I'm rattled because I didn't realize we were live. So I'm like trying to update everything at once. But we're all done.
On, mate. The bright lights are on.
Yeah, we're all done. It's all good. The right edge for Eli Katoa. Lasardi looks to be the option that goes in. Do you think he's the right option?
I think he's a good option. But they don't have like any other options that stand out to me a lot either. Like Hetherington, like I'd rather him in the middle. They've got Joe Chan who could obviously go there, but they were speaking of blokes the other day and saying that he's a full-time centre now. I completely disagree. He's a back rower every day of the week. He's too big to be a centre and defensively just isn't good there either. So like Joe Chan would be an interesting option. I think that they will go with Lasardi, and I think Lasardi will do a good job there, except, obviously I'd rather him not kick on last tackle like he did the other day in the trials. That would be preferable.
All right. I don't think we have much else to talk about the Storm here. I have them sitting like 5 to 6.
Yeah, I'm pretty similar, 5 to 6. I can get on board with that.
Raiders, Jamal Foldy leaves the club. They've got a few signings coming in with Kobe Black and Dane Laurie. Sione Finau as well comes from the St. George Illawarra Dragons. For me, they really overachieved last year, and I think they were a beneficiary of the draw. I think they come back to life a little bit this year, but I don't think they fall off massively. I do not see a world where they get close to that minor premiership though.
Yeah, not this year. Not this year. I don't think they make the 8 this year. I think that halfback question mark is too big of a question mark. And look,
Mm.
you could say the same about South Sydney, to be fair. Like you could say the exact same thing about them, but I I don't know. Like, is Sanders good enough? I mean, they were trying to get a bunch of other halfbacks in the building while he was currently signed there and had been there for 2 years. And previously they were saying that he was the plan, and they get Kobe Black in, and everyone who's you know everyone who's got a voice has been speaking about Kobe Black as that next up option, and I've been pretty big on him as well in the sense that I think that when you look at the Raiders side and the way they play football, I think that Kobe Black suits that. Is Kobe Black ready for first grade though? I'm not too sure. A lot of people who have watched the lower grades more than me would say probably not yet. So they're in a bit of an awkward spot. They've got probably one of the better forward packs and depth in the league. So that would obviously help them a bit. Ethan Strange, if he gets a little bit more ball dominant, it probably might not matter who the 7 is. If Ethan Strange is, running the show, then maybe they do go a lot better. They've got KO Weeks as well, who can play a little bit more of a commanding role if their halfback is struggling. So, yeah, look, I think that they'll go okay. I think, for me at least, there's every world they make the 8, and I was proved very wrong last year when I said that they were going to win the spoon and they got the minor premiership. But I think that they will probably just miss out on the 8. I think they'll be fringies.
Yeah, I think they're about 9th to 10th for me. I think a premier halfback in the competition is so hard to come by, and Jamal Fogarty leaving the club, people are underestimating this massively. I think they fall quite significantly just based on every other team getting better and them getting slightly worse. I think they'll still overachieve, no doubt, but I just think the competition is harder. They haven't got a halfback. I think Ethan Sanders, rookie halfback, it's a big ask to get him to perform the way they did last year. And I think a lot went their way last year. That being said, they were phenomenal last year. So I'm not faulting how they went about it last year at all. But yeah, I think it's a massive task, and if they make the 8, it's going to be a massive effort for them. Just based on the teams that are improving this year. Like I look at Parramatta. I think we did a Parramatta preview early on, or have we already done that? We've done that
we did
already.
a few weeks back.
Like, they're a team that didn't make the 8 last year. If they don't make the 8 this year, then like the competition is so strong, and there's so many teams could come out, and it could just be all based on the draw. What teams get in the 8, to be honest.
Yeah, well, you mean you look at teams that didn't make the 8 last year that will probably make the 8. I've got the Dolphins in there. I've got the Parramatta Eels in the 4, as we well know. I think that they'll be a top 4 side. Like, there's sides coming in, so someone obviously has to jump out. For me, one of those sides has to be Canberra. And look, I could be totally wrong, but I just look at optically what they're looking like this year, and I think that there are better sides. I've just put it as simple as that. I think there's better sides this year.
Dogs. They played a trial the other day. There's a lot. Their side is pretty settled compared to last year. The big question was the halves: Burton, Woods, Galvin. Burton's gone down with a hamstring injury on the trials on the weekend, so Woods is injured as well. So it looks like the Galvin's going to play 6, and Sean O'Sullivan can play 7. I think this is. I wouldn't say this is a blessing in disguise, but I think this could be their best combination to start the year, to be honest.
You know what? And I was talking to my brother about this after watching the trial with them the other day, and they were playing exceptionally. It was Sean O'Sullivan came onto the field and they started scoring points, like more frequently. I think this could be their best pairing. If Burton is definitely going to be going out, if Burton's definitely leaving, this could be their best partner for partnerage for the year, because Mitch Woods is obviously injured as well. I think that this could be the pairing that you have all season long and run with it. I think SOS is a good enough halfback, similar to Toby Sexton, a little bit older, has some really good service as well in combination to his back rower. Decent little kicking game there, can organise a team really well. Galvin looks way more comfortable on that left-hand side. I think that could be their best halves pairing for the year, and it might be a big call, but I really liked what I saw the other day, and it's only a trial. We'll see some more footy. We'll see them in Vegas and see how they go, but fuck, they looked good.
I'm pretty sure Andrew Johns was quoted saying that Sean O'Sullivan is like the best footy brain in the game at the moment, which is a massive compliment to him. And I think this could be the best pairing going forward. And I personally think when this whole Galvin thing went down, it wasn't necessarily the Galvin Burton, the Woods Galvin. It the Sexton Burton kind of combination was too vanilla. There wasn't a live wire in that spine. Connor Tracy at the back obviously does his job, but isn't outstanding. I think this combination in particular allows Galvin to thrive and allows him to be that live wire. Whereas when Burton is the guy, Galvin's got to do way too much organizing, and it takes it away from him. So I really think this combination could be the best short term for them. Obviously not long term, but I think it's just obvious that Burton and Galvin, it's probably not going to work long term. And I feel like the writing's on the wall for Matt Burton, to be honest.
I'll say this. There was quite a few comments the other day about the fact that Burton looks like he's put on another 5 kilos since last year. He's put on a bit of weight and size. Maybe even though he played in the halves the other day, I think there might be a chance maybe he does end up at center, or maybe as a little bit of a 13 sort of hybrid role for them as well. I think that's definitely a watch.
You know why I think he ends up at center? Critter played left at the start of the game, and Bronson Sherry played on the right at right center. I think there's a world where at some point they're preparing to put Burton into the left center. Critter goes to fullback.
Yeah, I think it's so unfair on Tracy.
It is, but potentially Tracy could go to a wing.
He could. I love him at fullback though, and I just love what him and Critter can do. Like Critter, obviously in the attacking zone, starts to roam. Like I don't mind that at all. Yeah, I could definitely see it for sure. I think that they're a really good side with Critter in a bit more of a roaming role, and definitely more dangerous that way. I just think it takes away defensively as well. Like Critter's one of the better defensive centers in the comp. Like, are you really wanting to take him out of center? I just don't know if that's the best move for them.
He could be the best defensive center in the competition, but the Bulldogs are the best defensive team in the competition. So they've got guys who can allow him to play that role. They don't need him to be in the front line anymore. They need attacking spark, and I think they can definitely do it. If he's up for the challenge and it allows Burton to stay at the club, if they end up offering Burton money to stay and play center and he's happy with that, then that's really good for their.
So what's your Bulldogs backline then? If we're naming a backline,
to be honest, mine would be I like Sherry at center. I would probably keep their side very similar to what it is, but for the sake of this argument, Crichton fullback on the wings. Let's go Tracy and Kiraz. And don't get me wrong, Kiraz can find an injury or two, so Montoya will be in and out of the side all year. And then in the centres, Matt Burton and Bronson Sherry, with Lockie Galvin at number 6, Sean O'Sullivan at number 7, hopefully transitioning Mitch Woods into that. And I feel like it just solves so many problems.
It does a little bit, yeah. It does a little bit now that you paint the picture.
I'll tell you what, though, I've been pretty critical of them. Grant, who is the co-host of our Supercoach podcast, his side is called the Pretenders, his Supercoach side, and I always call his team the Bulldogs because they're pretenders. I know they came out in the trial the other day and everyone's putting shit on the Knights. I just think the Bulldogs were that good that they made the Knights look shit.
And you got Leo Thompson to come back. You know, once Burton plays a full game, they get everyone back on field. Like, that is a dangerous, dangerous team. That is like, if they play like that with SOS in the 7 doing his thing, like, Jesus, I think that could definitely be a top 8 side. I don't have them in my 8 because, you know, we obviously wrote down all of our notes and whatnot when we started these previews. I didn't have them in my 8 then. I probably just don't now, but fuck, they'd be close.
For me, they're 5th, 6th, or 7th. I'm putting them in a bit of a bigger range than all the other ones because I don't think they can be top 4, but they've proved me wrong every year, to be honest, with their roster.
On my ladder now, as we're recording, like the ladder I did a couple weeks ago, I had them 12th.
Oh
I'd,
Jesus!
yeah, I'd probably move with SOS at 7. I'd probably have them 9, 10.
Yep.
I think that's probably a good spot for them.
All right, let's move over to the South Sydney Rabbitohs, and they played their trial, beat the Dragons the other night. I got to say, before the injury happened, I thought Jonah Glover had a kick from inside his own 30, and he absolutely booted the shit out of it. And like I've been told that he's more of a run first halfback, but the fact he's got that sort of boot on him, Jamie Humphries came on not long after that, and he tried to boot from the same spot, and the distance he got was nothing near what Glover got. So I think the fact that you've got someone like Glover, who's a run first halfback, who's got a boot like that can do his job, if he can just make his tackles and be just be comfortable in first grade, then I think South Sydney have found a brilliant halfback to slot into that spot. I think he's like, from what I've seen, the short sample size of what I've seen, I think he's the guy.
Mate, I'm so high on Jonah Glover. I'm super high on Jonah Glover. Like, I like to watch his highlights for the podcast the other week because we were doing a few reactions to a different highlights for the YouTube. And I'll tell you what, he is an impressive young footy player. Played halfback before Ilias came to the Dragons as well, so he is accustomed to that number 7 role. Really good kicking game, very good defender as well. Obviously, other than the other night where he broke his jaw, but mostly good defender. And then, as you said, unbelievable kicking game. So I've got him in the head spot for that 7 jersey, and I think he could do very, very well there for the future. My mail is Bud Sullivan has got an infection since breaking his knee last year, so he's going to be out. My mail is that Ashton Ward will start the year at 7. They're going to fight for an exemption. They're going to get an exemption and start him there at 7. So
Is he outside their top 30? I thought he got upgraded.
no, he hasn't been upgraded yet. He's still outside the top 30, so they'll need to get an exemption. But my mail is that they're going to try and start with Ward at 7.
Oh, I don't mind that. With a fractured jaw, Jonah Glover from last night, what's the time frame for that? Like, should be back
6
around
weeks, I
5,
think.
6.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, because I really love what I saw, and I think you know, part of your podcast is jumping on these guys and trying to spruik them early and get everyone else to think you're the guy that discovered him. This is the guy. This is the guy you got to talk up, I reckon, because I think with Payne Haas coming to the club next year, like this guy is going to play behind one of the best forward packs in the competition. So, yeah, I'm massive on Jonah Glover. I just love what I saw from the short sample size last night. So I'm gonna go back and look at that reaction video that you did on your YouTube with Jonah Glover, because he was at South Sydney, Dragons player last year. Obviously took their reserve grade side right through to a grand final. They won 11 in a row. They were the best side in the competition besides the Warriors. But the Warriors absolutely stacked in their forward pack and halves depth. So they've done a really good job. For the Rabbitohs, there's also it's not that many questions here. Like, I think the backs are pretty settled with Jai Gray, Whiten and Latrell in the centres. You've got Johnston and Campbell Graham on the wings. I don't think that back line is up for debate anymore. I think they're pretty settled.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that what you've seen most people try and throw out there and predict, it's pretty much all the same. It's Trell and Whiten in the centres, AJ on one wing with Campbell on the other, and then Jai Gray at fullback. Like, it's pretty set in stone. I think it's changing anytime soon.
There is one question I do have. I saw Tallis Duncan out for the Indigenous side today. I thought he looked really good on that left edge. Dave Fifita is obviously going to play that left edge, but do you feel like taking away from Tallis Duncan and how such a good year he had last year is worth putting a Fifita in there like that? Or do you keep your star recruit happy and just allow Tallis Duncan to make that right edge his own?
Yeah, it's a great question. I feel like he's so good on the left that, it's such a shame that you're probably going to have to take him out of there. I'd almost do this, like, if he's not playing left edge for me, Tallis Duncan, I'd probably have him off the bench, and I'd have Dave Fifita playing closer to 60 minutes, and then have Tallis Duncan playing a bit of time on the edge and maybe having some minutes in the middle as well. I think that he was good in the. I think people forget how good he was also. Like when he first sort of came onto the scene, not so much, but after a couple of games when he was coming through the middle there, I thought that he was really good in that sort of role as well. So maybe getting him having like a little stint through the middle, leg speed, quick play the balls, and then you can obviously throw him out to the left back row when Dave Fafita needs a spell, or even move Dave Fafita into the middle as well. So there's definitely options there. I really like the Dave Fafita in the middle shout partway through the game because he's just a big body and destructive, really good runner. Fucking hell. Yeah, Dave Fafita.
Dave Fafita, sorry.
Fafita.
That put you off so much, hey? If you're listening on the audio, I just put a massive banner up on the screen that says D's nuts. I'm sorry. There is another question I have. Obviously, you're a South Sydney Rabbitohs supporter. I think their side's pretty settled, and like for the first time in a long time, I'm very happy with how their side has turned out. And obviously, I'm a guy who does a podcast. Like, my opinion doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter if I'm happy with it or not. But like, I think the general audience would be looking at their roster thinking, yeah, they're going to battle for a top 8 position here. Brandon Smith at hooker. I saw Pete Mamouzelos come out of dummy half and have a 40-20 attempt, which was very close yesterday. I think that's something that they could use. What's your thought process behind them? Because I think Cheese can be used in the middle a little bit. I still like Pete Mamouzelos out of number 9. They probably don't need a lot out of their number 9, though. They need the person to make their tackles, give good service, and yeah, I just don't know what the best makeup for their side is. I think Cheese is the kind of player that you need for a front foot footy type of side, and I don't know if South Sydney Rabbitohs are that.
Look, I think my opinion on Brandon Smith is pretty copy and paste to most. I think I'd have him playing the first 20 minutes at hooker, and then I'd have him coming through in a bit more of a middle role and moving Mamo in there for the last 60 minutes of a game. Like, I think that's probably the best way to look at it. Obviously, later on in the year when Humphreys comes back into calculations as well, he'll be a little bit of a watch. He's got a great kicking game on him as well and can probably do similar things out of the 9. Also, a bigger body defensively. So depending on what you want to do there, that's obviously up for debate. But yeah, look, it's going to be super interesting to see how the side is run. I'd have Smith playing 20 minutes starting at 9. And then I would have Mamo coming off the bench to play the remaining 60 at 9, and Smith can just rotate through the middle. But in saying that, you've got guys like Lockie Hubner who impressed the shit out of me the other night in the trials. He was outstanding. Some of his movements, so keen for the ball. He nearly scored a try after a kick in the air as well. Unfortunately, it was knocked on. But yeah, Hubner impressed me so much. He's definitely fighting for a spot. You've got guys like Kepi, Totola, Celestia Tato, who played the other night, was really good. You've got some other young forwards there. So they're sport for choice. I think if anyone can make the right call, though, it's Wayne Bennett. So we'll see what South decide to do for the bench. But to answer your question, Smith first 20 at hooker and then moving into the middle.
I actually thought that Hubner should have made their best 17 anyway. I thought Hubner was such a Wayne Bennett type of guy.
Yeah, he is. He totally is. Just with his work rate, his effort. Wayne brought him over to the club as well. As you got to remember. Yeah, from the Dolphins. So Wayne wants him there. I think that he'll definitely be in and around that 17. Again, you've got all these guys, plus you've got Jai Arrow to fit in somewhere. You've got, all of these sort of guys as well. So you can't have everyone. As much as I want everyone, you can't have everyone. So we'll see what happens for the Bunnies. But I would certainly have our old mate Hubner in there somewhere.
For sure. I'm just seeing if this layout works. Does it put my face on the screen when I'm talking here?
You're only on the screen at the moment.
Oh, you're only on the screen at the moment. So I wonder if that works. I've got the live stream up to see if that kind of does it. But let's move on. So this six person bench, yeah, it does. It swaps it automatically. How good's that? That's awesome.
So good.
That's awesome. Sorry, we're learning things on the fly here on the YouTube. We're doing a YouTube masterclass right now. So you can see our full screen now, which I like. I like that better than the other view. So there is one thing I want to fix up though. There's like a black border around us when we talk. Can you see that? I want to see if we can get that fixed up for sure. So their bench, they've obviously got Pete Mamouzelos or Jamie Humphries. They've also got Lockie Hubner, Ewan Aitken, and a Tavita Totola. Who would you put on their 18 and 19 spot?
Sorry, Totola or who? Sorry, I was just reading the chat.
Oh, can you see the black bars?
The black bars. No, I can't. What's the go? What's happening?
Yeah, so their bench, Pete Mamouzelos / Jamie Humphries, right?
Yep.
For their bench. And then they've got Ewan Aitken, Tavita Totola, and Lockie Hubner. Who would you put in that 18-19?
Good question. I would have Talanoa Penatani, who can cover in the back line. You would have seen him in the trial the other night. He was the centre. I believe there's a Penatani in the NRLW who he's related to, who plays for Cronulla. Very, very good player. Very, very talented. I think that he will definitely be a guy where he'll be fighting his way in, especially around Origin. If Latrell gets picked for Origin, I think that he'll be the first guy picked into that centre spot. Very, very talented, highly wrapped. So I think that Talanoa Penatani will take a spot. And you could probably throw a forward in there. I'd have Celestia Tata. I'd have young Celestia Tata. I think that he just definitely deserves a spot in first grade. I think that he'll be fighting for a spot. And I feel like South Sydney, they've got so many guys who are super versatile and can move around a bit. You know, if there's an injury at fullback, Latrell goes straight there. If there's an injury in the halves, Latrell can play a bit of a role there. We've seen that this year already. So I think that you don't really need someone to cover in those positions. You've got someone to cover at hooker, so you can afford to have a forward there in jersey 19. So I'd go Celestia Tata. I also think he just deserves to be there too, and it's a great excuse to have him there.
100%. All right, let's move on to the Dragons. And the big talking point for the Dragons, they're number 6, obviously Kyle Flanagan. In my opinion, I've seen a few clips going around just saying they won't put him in number 7, blah, blah. But when he went to number 7 last year, a lot of people were kind of saying the opposite, like, why is he the number 7, blah, blah, blah. I actually think he's a great half, to be honest. I look at him and I look at the 2019 season that the Roosters had after Cooper Cronk left the club. They came 4th. They haven't been in the top 4. They've been in the top 4 once since then, since 2019. That's 7 years of footy, and they've been in the top 4 once since then. And Kyle Flanagan was the halfback when that happened. I thought he was treated quite poorly. Yes, I think his footy hasn't been up to what I think his potential was at the time. But I think he defends well. His edge is always a high-scoring edge. When he played on the left last year, that left edge with Christian Tuipulotu on the wing and Val Holmes on the left, was absolutely pumping it. The minute he went to the right, that edge caught a cold. So I think he's been given an extended chance. Daniel Atkinson comes to the club. I think he should play number 7 though, Flanagan, with Atkinson at number 6. But for me, they probably just need one more attacking weapon. They probably need an experienced guy in the middle to be added to that pack. I think Jack DeBellin leaving the club and Clemmer is massive for them. They looked pretty average in the trials, but I don't read a lot into that. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's an interesting conversation, right? First on Flanagan, I think he can be a really high quality 6. I think he's not a 7 for me, in my opinion. I look at him as a really good running 6. Just even an example from the other night, a couple of his movements, his footwork at the line, nearly scored a try on his own when they had a little set down the left-hand side. He stepped on the inside and nearly barged his way over on his own. So he's a really good runner. In those games that he played well last year, it was on the left-hand side, and it was with his footwork that he was able to score 2 tries, I think, in one game. He had that game where he was just unbelievable. So I think that he can be a really high quality 6. And my only question, I guess, with that is Atkinson the guy to unlock him if he is going to move into that role, or do they need an experienced halfback in there to allow him to play that sort of footy? That's my sort of question. We'll find out if Atkinson is that guy. Mind you, like while there were plenty of negatives, there were a few hidden gems and hidden positives in there. With Atkinson, I mean, that first play where he set up, dummied, ran straight through and then popped the ball back on the inside to Gutho. I think that was huge. I think that was definitely a little positive for there. There was that, Cook said that they wanted to take a couple more risks throughout the year as well. And they were certainly doing that to start the game. I just feel like, I'm not too sure if he is the seven. We'll find out though, because they did drop off towards the latter part of the game, so we'll find out. Speaking on the middle forward though that you were touching on before, I think that Hamish Stewart will be that guy for them. I really liked what I saw from him out of the poorish performance from this side. I feel like he was a hidden gem in there, and he stood up. I thought he had a really big game through the middle, played some massive minutes, really deep into the line, really good service as well. I think he can be a perfect little middle forward for them and be that perfect little replacement for Jack de Belin long term. Hamish Stewart for me, the guy. That's probably not my biggest concern. My biggest concern is more around the halves and, is Atkinson the best to be able to unlock Flano as a 6? And how that sort of works. That'll be, I guess, the question mark that I have for them.
100%. I actually think Hamish Stewart is great talent. Looks very young. He's still very young in his career, but I think they need to go through this teething period. They're not going to win a comp this year. I think that's pretty evident with their side. This is another building year. They did very well last year to develop a lot of these guys. So I think they're in for a good year ahead, and they might have a bit of heartbreak here and there, but I'm excited to see them go along. I don't think they will come last. I think they're more of I think they'll be 12th to 13th, in my opinion.
I tend to agree. Do you want to quickly discuss the back line? Do you reckon that's worth throwing up?
Well, I think Setu 2 in the trials has really nailed down his position. I think he's looked really good on the wing. Tuipulotu, is he locked in?
Not really. I wouldn't have him locked in. I thought he was okay during the trials. I didn't think it was perfect. He's also been injured for most of the preseason as well, so he hasn't really had that fair crack. I would probably go along the way of maybe a David Farley. I liked what I've seen from him in little bits and pieces. Is he more of a centre? We'll have to wait and see, but it'll be interesting to see what they do. Setu 2 for me is definitely locked in, but where they go for the other one, that's certainly up for debate, whether you want to go with Sloan, whether you want to go with Tuipulotu, or whether you obviously want to go with Farley. That's going to be very, very interesting to see what they want to do.
Yeah, I think Tuipulotu was really good last year, so I obviously think he deserves first crack, but he'll have David Farley breathing down his neck. I think Cookie should spend a bit of time in the middle this year, so Little can spend more time at hooker. But apart from that, I think they're developing well. And Shane Flanagan coach side, I don't think is going to do too badly. I think with Keon coming to the club next year, though, I think they really need to be ready in terms of they need to sort out who their combinations are. Is Kyle going to be the 6? Are you searching for a fullback so Gutho can go into the halves, or et cetera, et cetera? I think this is another building year. But once Keon comes to the club next year, I don't think they have the breathing room that they have in the last 2 or 3 years.
Who do you think out of the two, out of Gutho or Val, who do you reckon is going to play for longer?
Well, the obvious answer is Val, but you just know Gutho's going to play longer.
Yeah, I tend to agree, to be fair. I actually agree.
Val's actually been very injury prone. Like he's always got a niggle at some point of the year. He's already I don't know if you saw the social media video the other day. He walked off with a hammy injury in their scrimmage. Did you see it?
Yeah. I think I saw it somewhere, but I know that he had a hammy injury because that's why he was ruled out of the Charity Shield. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see who does end up lasting longer. But yeah, Gutho's just a warrior. Like he's just one of those guys like a DCE where you just think, is this guy ever going to hang up the boots? Like what's going on here? So yeah, look, we'll see. I think that Gutho as well, the good thing about Gutho is that he's rarely injured too. When you look at
Mm.
between Val and Gutho, Gutho is always there most of the time anyway. You barely need to rest him. You barely need to you barely have to take him out due to injury. He's always sort of fighting strong. He's always the fittest at training. Like he's a bit of an animal, like Gutho.
Do you think Gutho is their long-term fullback? Like he signed for the next, was he signed for the next year or two? Do you think they're planning on using him at fullback?
Well, I thought it was gonna. We thought it was gonna be Sloan only 2.5 years ago, and it's clearly not the case now. I'm not too sure because they haven't really got anyone that really stands out as that
Mm.
long-term fullback either. Like there's no one in the juniors that we've seen in the trials even that's hopped back at fullback and blown it away. Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. I guess going back to our as well our Kyle Flanagan chat. How far away is Cade Reed, do you reckon?
Yeah, yeah. He looked a magnificent talent in the trials, and I think he's going to be massive for them in the future. They're obviously biding their time with him, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see if he gets a run this year. Then surely they're preparing to get him in next year. If he doesn't get a run this year, then probably not next year. But I guess it just depends how much he develops, right?
You gonna put him on your 6-man bench?
Nah, not gonna. I wouldn't. I wouldn't be hindering him at all. I'm trying to share the video that
Of Val.
Yeah, hold on. Let me see. Can I share it?
It's an interesting time to be trying to figure out the ins and outs of Riverside, mate.
So yeah, I know. It doesn't work. I don't think it works.
Mate, I'll tell you what. Just while we're chatting away, or at least to fill the gap of silence.
Oh my god.
Well, Jesus. What about old mate Luciano Leilua the other night? He looks like he's coming to the season strong.
Sorry. I was too distracted trying to share this video, but yeah, he looked really good. I think it's going to be a real battle off when Dylan Egan returns, because I thought Dylan Egan really made a fist of it and he was locked into their left edge. So Luciano has really, really made things interesting there, and I think it's a good problem for them to have because you can never have enough forwards.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, for those asking all the super coach questions in the chat as well, have a look at him maybe a little bit later after the first couple rounds and we see how the Dragons go, maybe at the little 412K little pod there.
420K, yes. And we get on to our last team. Oh, no, we've got two more teams. Manly Sea Eagles. Fogarty comes into the club. Kobe Hetherington comes into the club. Navale done his ACL the other day, so they're pretty light on middles if they weren't already. And now, yeah, that happens. I'm scared for them. I think their best footy can, just like every other year, can beat any side in the competition. But I'm scared that 27 games, they're not going to produce enough to get in the top 8.
Yeah, look, it's going to be interesting. The big question mark that I have for Manly is Jamal Fogarty, coming in. How similar is he going to play to DCE, and how much is their footy going to change with Jamal coming in? That's probably my biggest question mark around Manly. Obviously, a lot of people are taking a look at that pack and think it's a little bit scary. But I mean, after watching that Simeone Laffey the other day in the trials and a couple of their other young guns, I think that if they do just go all in on the young guys, like the Warriors, I think should as well. I'll tell you what, it's not a bad little prospect there. I think that they can make it work with what they've got. Even if Paseka doesn't have the biggest year like we want him to, I feel like they've got some young guys coming through now, like a Laffey who's 19 years of age, who can just join the bench and go crazy like he did the other day on the trials. They've got Bullymore, a few other guys there. So it will be interesting to watch. I guess as well. I mean, let's get your thoughts first on Fogarty. Do you reckon their footy's going to change too much with him coming in?
I think their footy's going to be a lot better, to be honest. Like I'm really excited for Fogarty to come into the club. I think Fogarty is the perfect person for a Tommy Turbo captain side. He gets the ball when he wants it, and he gets it. He's the best. he's the best fullback in the competition when he's on, and if he gets the ball when he wants it this year, then I think there's no limit to what he can achieve this year. That being said, if he is injured, then I don't think Fogarty can pick up the slack that DCE did in the attack when Tommy was out earlier in the year. Mind you, we've got Lehigh that can go the back now, so the back depth is quite good in that regards. But I just think if Lehigh's at the back and Fogarty is at halfback, it kind of reminds me of the Warriors, but the defense isn't hardened like the Warriors, whereas like the attack, just there's no spark there. So I think if Tommy is fit, and I don't want to be that person that says if Tommy is fit, they play well, but if Tommy is fit, I think they play Tommy ball. They go back to their 2021 routes. They've signed Kobe Hetherington. You saw the Reece Walsh try in the grand final. That came off the back of a Kobe Hetherington quick play the ball. And if Kobe Hetherington can have that sort of momentum going forward and they just play Tommy ball, the forwards might not matter as long as their defense is good and they play quick footy. Bullimore, Hetherington, Olakau'atu, they've got to lean into that. Don't try and be a team that you're not. You're not going to be a defensive juggernaut like the Warriors. You're not going to be a Penrith Panthers. You're not going to be a Melbourne Storm. You're going to be the Manly Sea Eagles, and the best footy can beat every team in the competition. And if you string together enough games, you shake up the competition. But that being said, that's a massive question.
It is. I actually don't mind either, the Kobe Hetherington shout. I think you look at my preview from last year on the podcast when we were talking about Manly, I was pretty keen on Jazz Tavanga coming in because I thought that he was going to go straight to 13 and they were going to play that quick style of footy. I almost copy and paste that take from last year. I think with Kobe Hetherington coming in, he's my new 13. I'd be moving Jakey into the front row. I think that we've discussed this on the podcast already, but I feel like he's slowing down a little bit, and I feel like that move is going to be inevitable at some stage, and I think they've just got to bite the bullet and move him now, play him in that more traditional front row role. It's probably going to be better and less of a load on him as well because he'll be playing less minutes compared to usual. I think it's just going to be all around a better scenario for the way that Manly should be playing and the way that we want them to play as well.
Yeah, 100%. I've got them. I mean, their hooker, Jake Simkin. I think he's going to need a bit of help during the year, but I don't mind him being the main guy if he's ready and he's ready to go this season. I think he just will need a little bit of help throughout the year. I also think that Joey Walsh performed really well in the trials on the weekend, so I'd love to see them kind of experiment him at 5'8", because Luke Brooks has not done enough to hold that position. I think it's got to be, he's obviously going to start there, but I think a lot of pressure is going to go down his neck.
We were talking about Joey Walsh performed well. I'll tell you who performed really well, in my opinion at least, Brandon Wakeham at 9. I thought he was good. Set up a lot of their try-scoring opportunities, really good deception out of 9. While he's not a traditional dummy half, I thought he played that role really, really well. And I think if they were to go down that route for 14 and have Joey Walsh in that extended bench, I think that could work out really well. I think even, Brandon Wakeham maybe starting in that 9 role and you're having Simkin off the bench. I don't mind that either. It's not something that I would have thrown up a couple months ago, but after watching that trial, I think that he could suit that role really, really well, again, for the style of footy that Manly want to play. But on Joey Walsh, I don't mind that take. I think that Luke Brooks probably needs to do a bit to keep that spot. You were talking, I think, on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, throwing up maybe Brooksy moving into a bit of a 14 role and taking a little bit more of a hooker approach just with his build and size. But yeah, look, we'll see what happens with Manly. I think Brooks probably has the first 8 rounds to really play well, and after that, I think that might potentially make some changes depending on how Joey Walsh is playing in Cup.
Yeah, I think the noise on Joey Walsh is getting bigger and bigger, so questions will start to be asked. But my gut feel is that Brooks gets the season, but I just hope it doesn't land that way because I see it. I think he's the kind of guy who, when he's got pressure on him, he performs, but he can't do it for 27 rounds of a season. I think he's a great player. He's got good attributes, but it just doesn't seem to work for him in the 5'8" or halves role. I think it's too much for him. I think maybe coming off the bench playing 9, like what a Peter Wallace or a Lockie Croker did, I think that'd be so beneficial for him, and could potentially prolong his career, especially in a Manly side that need it right now. What else have I got? Manly, have you seen that? Manly suck dick. Cherry Evans has been the best thing in their last 15 years. If Turbo goes down, they're getting the spoon. I'm not disagreeing with that at all. If Turbo goes down, they could potentially get the spoon if he's gone for the season. But I've got them. Oh, I've got them 8th.
Yuck. I haven't got them anywhere near the 8. I've got them 16th.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I've got them challenging for the spoon. While I think that they can play some good footy and they can get away from that area, I don't think that they'll just don't think they're going to go well this year. I think a lot of sides are better.
It's fair, and you see in past years the people that have got the spoon or landed in bottom 2, it's always the ones who the coach is under the most pressure. And the 2 coaches under the most pressure leading into this year, it's Seabold and Todd Payton. So we'll see what happens there and look back at this at the end of the year. Last one, Sharks. Not much to talk about here. I just think the one question I have is Kennedy. What's the go? What do we do? I don't think Ison is breathing down his neck by any means. But I just think if this isn't the year they go forward with it, then it's going to turn into a rebuild.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what they do this year. I think that Kennedy, it really depends on what the next couple of weeks looks like, what he decides to do. If he decides to go to Perth, I think they pulled the trigger on Ison. If he doesn't decide to go to Perth and wants to fight for a contract, it puts them in a pretty interesting spot. I think that I don't think Will Kennedy's necessarily done anything wrong to lose the jersey. I just think people want a more explosive and exciting fullback there, and that's obviously sparked this conversation. I think Will Kennedy, similar to my argument with Chance before, very safe, finishes off plays really, really nicely, has a really silky last touch. I think Kennedy's a good fullback. I think that he will be the fullback for the whole year. He's my sort of vibe. I don't think that unless there's injury and whatnot, I don't think Ison's going to be playing too much first grade this season. But yeah, it really depends on how quickly Kennedy makes that call and what he wants to do, because you got to remember it was only a couple weeks into the off season, or more than that, maybe a month into the off season, where Kennedy even re-signed for this year. So we could be waiting a long time for him to make that call as well. And again, if that's the case, it does put Cronulla in a bit of an interesting spot, and it really sort of forces their hand a little bit to make a tough decision. So we'll have to wait and see.
They can't really do much. Like, what can they do if they don't go forward with it this year? Like, what direction do you feel like they can go in if they don't make a nudge for it this year? Like, for example, obviously Kennedy's the one you move on, but you can't really, like, he's on what, 300, 400K? You can't really get a premium fullback for 300, 400K these days.
Can I ask you this question? Let's just say there is a world.
Yes, Trindle, fuck him off.
No. Let's just say there is a world where the Sharks decide to get rid of Ramian, which has been heavily whispered. Do you offer Ramian to Parramatta in exchange for Lomax?
I think that would be great, but I don't know if it'd happen. He's already in Melbourne. Like, that deal will get done.
But the longer this goes on, I mean, with everything that's come out about Melbourne, like, did you see the other thing the other day with the Melbourne CEO's quote about putting pressure on Para? Like,
yeah, put the blowtorch on Peter V'landys.
Yeah, but the longer this goes on, the more comes out about Melbourne and the shitter Melbourne look as an organisation. Like, there's every chance that Melbourne just pull out of this and go, you know what, this is putting too much disdain on the club. Let's just get out now. This is causing too much trouble. We don't need to necessarily go down this direction. As nice as it is to go for Lomax, like, do they really need Lomax?
Well,
this
especially
this much.
yeah, especially if they go to court, they're going to have to subpoena and get all the files, get all the emails, the back and forth correspondence. Like a lot more is still yet to come out. So I think, yeah, obviously Melbourne aren't too scared of it at the moment. If they haven't pulled out yet, maybe they're just playing a Mexican standoff, hoping it gets resolved before it actually goes to court and all this happens. But yeah, some very interesting
Well,
more leaks could come.
that's the thing, mate. It has gone to court. That's how this thing came out. They've already been to court. Their first court day has already been.
Yeah,
So
and what that was a quote that came out of it.
yeah, that was one of the things that came out. So this has already begun. They're going through the process. Like,
Mm.
I just don't know how worth it is for Melbourne. And like, I think like if Cronulla were to seriously go and make that play, Parramatta would be getting what they want, which is a decent center, and fair compensation that can fit into their side. And then Lomax goes to Cronulla. He slots straight into that right center position, and they're instantly a more dangerous team. Hines and Lomax combo on the right side with Katoa, like that's and Nikora as well. Like,
I
oh
don't.
my goodness,
I'd fuck him, put him at fullback, and then put Gabriel in the centers.
even that,
Just,
like,
something. They need to change up there somewhere. I actually think that I like the Trindle Hines combo and how far it's come now. Like I'm all for it now, but I just think if they got a 5'8" for cheap, like if they got a Pezzett on the market, that'd be perfect for them. If they got like a who else is in the market at the moment? Like
did you watch them today in the Indigenous game?
yeah, I did.
They were good today.
Yeah,
They were bloody good today.
their combination is really starting to flourish. I just think they need help at fullback. That's what they need. They need help. And I think if Brayley out of dummy half just does his thing, then they're probably going to make a nudge for it this year for sure.
I've got them in the top 4. I've got them in the 4. I think that they'll be a good side this year, and I think that they'll be a threat for the grand final. To be fair, I think that they can take that step forward, and I think the thing that does sort of give me that tick of approval is the fact that nothing's changed. Like they haven't signed anyone and they haven't let anyone go. It's the same squad with the same scars from last year, taking in the same lessons, working on the same things, growing stronger defensively. Hines looks like he's had a killer of an off season. So yeah, I like them, but yeah, certainly Will Kennedy seems to be the biggest question at the moment, and what his future looks like. Then again, like back to the Lomax thing. Like if you were to get Lomax, that pretty much puts Liam Eisen in a really awkward spot, doesn't it? Because then you're basically blocking his road.
It depends where they're planning on putting him. I feel like if Eisen hasn't really taken that role yet, then there's every chance that his path to first grade just isn't kind of going to be a thing.
Like Chevy Stewart or something.
Yeah, potentially. I get those vibes from him. Like I think he played. Has he played an NRL game? I'm pretty sure he has.
He did. Yeah, he played. He played at the back end of a season when they arrested a couple of people.
And he played really, really well. And I expected him to come along a lot quicker. And just like Chevy Stewart and like Tyrell Sloan, potentially even the same thing, because since he's played in a worse side, he got more of a go. Got to go on the sting as well. So
to be fair, he did miss half the season last year in Cup. They did bring another fullback in when I was looking at the trial team list the other day. So I think he has had a couple of injuries too, similar to Cade Dykes. I think they've both sort of been injured a little bit. So look, we'll see. We will see what happens. But I actually like the Lomax shout for right centre, because like the vibe that I get for Sharks fans is that they sort of unhappy a little bit with Ramian, and in recent years they think that he's sort of dropped off a little bit. So yeah, maybe that's the change. Maybe that's the change that you're looking for.
Yeah, I like him at right centre, to be honest. I just feel like at fullback, it's a certain side he would suit fullback for. So the Warriors, I think he'd be all right at fullback.
It's funny you say that, because I made a post. I made a post this morning about like who needs Lomax the most. Like I did a post about that, which will come out on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And I've got a photo of him in a Warriors jersey. So
yeah,
I don't mind the Warriors shout at all. Like he'd be grouse there.
Bulldogs?
Yeah, Bulldogs, semi. I mean, they've got more of a headache. It depends on, again, with Burton, what happens there. Like if Burton's moving on and they have a space that's freed up, they want to move Sherry to the wing, then maybe they can do Bulldogs, Roosters.
At centre, yeah. Yeah, you
But
know what? You know what? The Dragons could use someone like Lomax.
Huh.
All right, I think we'll call it there. But massive effort, Les, to pump out this one today.
Huge, mate.
Looking to get it done before the season starts. I'd love to do a season like predictions thing. Obviously, that's a bit more on our plate than we expected. But maybe we can try one day.
I'm not going to rule it out, mate. I won't rule it out for you.
I'm not ruling it out, but I'm not promising either.
Lads.
But thanks for coming on. It's been good, Les. Where obviously on the burst is probably not going to go forward this season. It's just too hectic for both of us to do it on any given time. Our schedules just don't line up. But it's been good having you on the podcast this preseason. I know we always expected this to be the case, but it's always good. I think your passion for footy early on in the season really bounces off mine, and I really enjoy having these conversations with you in the preseason. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you, mate. Appreciate it. It's a shame that the show obviously won't be going through this season and the schedules can't line up there. And I know that you've got some exciting things, wink, wink, that you've got coming up as well. So
I do. So if you are listening, things are changing massively. So things are going to change, and people will like it. Maybe be very similar to this kind of vibe. Yeah, that's all.
Mark Hughes, we're on this Sunday.
13 plus. Hold on, let me just watch the video on here that Sportshed uploaded. They just uploaded a story. So
Rugby League fans, we need you next weekend, next Sunday, the 22nd of Feb. It is very close now. Exactly 1 week away. Mark Hughes Foundation and Goanna Academy. 2 charities we are raising money for. We can't wait to see you there. Make sure you get your tickets. It's going to be a big day, big event. We've got so much things happening there. Let's go. See you there.
Oh, 1 week. I'm so keen.
So excited, mate.
I'll tell you what I'm keen for. I'm keen for the big togetherness at the breakfast as well.
Yeah, that's going to be grass.
That's going to be hectic. We went to Bay Vista for one of the training sessions.
Yep.
That was a hectic feed, eh?
So good. I'm super excited for it, bro.
Are you going to get the same ice cream that you got for breakfast this time?
I doubt it's going to happen for breakfast. I barely finished it. To be fair, out of myself, Julian and Brendan, I was probably the only one that finished the full thing as well, which probably says a lot more about me than it says about them. But no, it was good. It was good. I'm excited for it. It's gonna be an awesome day. It's gonna be a great breakfast.
It's going to be a great breakfast, great day. And I love that it's turned into a breakfast into going to the field early. Like it's an actual full day for us now. So come down if you are keen. I want some predictions. We had Rando, who came on a couple of years ago and absolutely stunned the competition. And he got player of the match. Brendan last year was the same, new player, really stunned the competition. Who do you think it's going to be this year?
Oh, great question. I am going to say my player of the match, I think it's going to be Rando again.
Yep.
It's boring, but I think it's the only right answer. He's at 6 this time with big Brad Tuckerangi there in the 7. So it's a lethal halves pairing. He's going to be off the back of a couple of offloads. I think it'll be Rando at the end this year. But my smoky, maybe Mitch Field.
You reckon?
Maybe little Mitch Field. You never know. You never know with these little guys off the bench. They can just do something crazy. We haven't seen him play at all. Hasn't been at too many of the trainings, so we haven't really seen or got a little bit of a taste of what he's going to be like on game day. So maybe he just throws something a little bit out of the box, and we just don't know. We don't see it coming, and then on game day, just goes off. So we'll see.
My tip, Big Les.
Huge, mate. Huge. Look, I didn't want to say myself on the podcast as well. It sounded a bit vain, but I'm glad you said it.
All right. We'll see you next week, and enjoy your rugby league footy.
Enjoy your football. See you guys.